Okay, magandang gabi sa lahat. Welcome to UTrade's Usapang Stocks. And for this episode tonight, our speaker will talk about the MEDIC and SPNEC IPO play, discuss the playing defense and stock recommendations for consumer sector, at syempre marami pang iba. Mga kaibigan, please join me in welcoming our speakers for tonight, Mr. Ralph Jonathan Fausto, Research Analyst, and Mr. Cristopher Kiko San Pedro, Technical Analyst for Unicapital Securities Inc. Ayan, magandang gabi guys. Magandang gabi, Sir Ralph and Sir Kiko. Kamusta kayo?
Hi, good evening.
Okay naman. Sorry ka, kamusta?
Okay naman. Ayan. I thought it's Friday kasi sanay ako na ang usapang stocks natin ay laging Friday or either sa Thursday eh. So baka sabihin ko na naman TGIF or it's still a Wednesday. So
napaaga ba ganun?
Napaaga. Ayan. So I think marami tayong pag-uusapan tonight, no? Kasi marami naglabasang news and kaabang-abang talaga. And before that, of course, we would like to know some consumer sector news for from Sir Ralph. I think Sir Ralph, you may now share your screen.
Okay, all right.
Thank you.
Let me share my screen. Can you see it?
Yes.
Okay. So before I begin my presentation with the fundamental side of the consumer sector, I would like to introduce myself. I'm Ralph Fausto, the new research analyst covering the consumers in the property sector. And for today, we will be discussing about the consumer sector, especially that we are approaching the Christmas season and we expect really a elevated spending for the sector to benefit from. So for my presentation outline, we'll begin with the macroeconomics for the consumer sector with the anticipated tailwinds that will support the improving fundamentals. Also, we will take a look at how consumer confidence and consumer spending progress throughout the pandemic. We will also look at the developments in our country with the updates of COVID-19 and the cause of concerns at the moment, which is the threat of the new Omicron variant. We will be followed by the most awaited part of my presentation, our stock picks from the consumer side. And we'll wrap it up with the key takeaways and we'll end with the key highlights for the upcoming IPO of SPNEC. For the macroeconomics, despite being adversely affected by the Delta-driven surge last third quarter, we are optimistic about the sector as retailers are anticipating to have a boost in their sales in the fourth quarter and even recovering what they considered as lost sales from the hard lockdowns imposed in the last several months. A Business World articles even said that Christmas spending for each household this year will reach an estimate of 37,000 pesos, which I consider realistic as households have already received their Christmas bonuses and also their 13th month pay, further boosted by still having a lot of employees on their work from home arrangement, equating to more savings as they are not spending that much in the necessary expenses compared to working on site. This translates to a greater disposable income for them to spend for the holiday season. We should also consider the next year is an election year. We further anticipate the sector to benefit from this, from the magnitude election spending. And moving on to my next slide, as shown in the graph, we could see that every year most likely ends with the fourth strong quarter than the first 3 quarters of the year. Well, we anticipate that this pattern will materialize again this year as pent-up demand coupled with revenge spending to boost our consumer spending. Meanwhile, for consumer confidence, we see that after being so pessimistic during the height of the pandemic, we could already see some signs of recovery as the number of COVID infections decline and more people are wanting to go out and spend. As our economic recovery trajectory continues its momentum, we expect this to enter the positive territory in the next few quarters. And for updates to our current local situation, we continue to record lower than 1,000 COVID-19 cases daily for several weeks already, We could attribute this to the government's continuing efforts to vaccinate our fellow Filipinos, giving them resistance towards the virus. However, the main cause of concern right now is just this afternoon, we have already detected 2 confirmed cases of the Omicron variant in our countries. But however, the good news is the Pfizer-BioNTech have conveyed that their vaccines has been able to neutralize Omicron with 3 shots, calling on the importance of giving out booster shots to sustain the efficacy of our immunity. What worries us right now is that after South Africa becomes the epicenter of the variant, in the UK, it already caused massive waves of infections, and the first that attributed to Omicron has already been detected. Nevertheless, our country continues to vaccinate to its vaccination efforts so that we slowly reach our herd immunity. And as of December 13, around 49% of our population received at least 1 dose of the vaccine, while 37.5% of our population is already vaccinated. And with this positive sentiment, we could see from the Google mobility data that more people are already going out, especially as they feel more secure as being fully vaccinated, giving them immunity against the virus. As shown in the graph, people with February 2020 as the baseline comparable, since it is considered to be somewhat our pre-pandemic level, people have already been going outside significantly as they desire to make up for the lost time of being locked up in their homes for a prolonged period of time. Meanwhile, for the workplace, we continue to see it in the negative territory as there are still a significant number of employees in work from home setup. And transit stations are still lagging big negative numbers and it's still operating with limited capacity. For our consumer picks, now that we come to our most exciting part of the presentation, our stock picks for the consumer sector, we would advise beforehand that our recommendations are value-based, that we believe with its fundamentals are still intact, are worthy to be considered. However, with the pessimism in the market, we could see that its price action at the moment is not really impressive. However, we still believe that they are stocks that are worth adding to our portfolio. First is we have P Gold, Pure Gold Price Club. It is well positioned to capture the holiday spending, both from the masses and the high income earners through its Pure Gold and SNR formats. It has been able to sustain high margins supported by supplier support in Pure Gold and robust sales from its SNR format stores. And in its pipeline, it intends to open new stores moving forward, emphasizing smaller format stores located in underserved areas outside of Metro Manila. For its valuation, for our target price for Pure Gold right now, it presents a potential upside of 55%. And moving on to our next topic, we have URC, Universal Robina Corporation. We believe that its leadership in several snack foods domestically will definitely benefit from the Christmas spending. Also, its recent acquisition of Malaysia's leading biscuit company, Munchies, compensates for the divestment of its Oceania business and further expand its position in the Malaysian food market. And we are optimistic for the out-of-home spending to pick up as face-to-face classes, which account for 1/3 of the revenues of URC, to continue as face-to-face classes continue to be implemented. We see a potential upside of 28% from our target price. For our third stock, we have San Miguel Food and Beverage, FB. We see that in the 9 months of 2021, it was able to record double-digit sales growth across its segments with improving sales volume. We anticipate strong demand for its beer and spirit segment for the Christmas season. And also its food segment continues to benefit as more employees are still in the work from home arrangement. Our estimated fair value price per FB presents investors a 60% upside. Next, we have Mondinisin. We believe that with its strong market position, with its branded consumer food segment, Lucky Me, for example, and M.Y. San Graham, Fita, and Skyflix will help it boost its net sales. We also expect sales to pick up as more schools continue to shift to face-to-face classes. And the most significant catalyst that we expect for Monde is its possible inclusion in the PSEI in 2022. And due to the drop right now in the market, we see that there's a potential upside of 26% for Monde. And lastly, we have RRHI, Robinson's Retail Holdings. It was able to stay resilient in the third quarter despite the temporary closure of 18 department stores from its store network due to the Delta-driven surge in infections. We see that its strong e-commerce presence with 3.5% of its 9-month 2021 net sales attributed from online sales from its platform. Industry average, it was already above its industry average of 2.5%. We see that its supermarket segment to benefit with consumers buying up Noche Buena food items and department stores with a holiday shopping spree. Consensus target price for RRHI gives investors an potential upside of 80%. And to wrap up our consumer discussion, the consumer, despite being a laggard among sectors, is positioned to benefit from the tremendous tailwinds ahead with the magnified holiday spending season for the Christmas season and election-related spending next year. And the key risk to watch out for is the developing stories of the Omicron as more countries report the detection of the variant in their domain. With the detection of the Omicron variant in our country, we see this as a headwind, as the possibility of another surge in COVID-19 infections is imminent. We always advise investors to always have a long-term outlook to take advantage of the opportunities presented by the discounted value plays. And that ends my presentation. I'll now move you to Sir Kiko to share naman his technical insights.
Hello, mic test. Good evening. Operal, okay naman? Rika, hello?
Okay,
Yes,
okay
loud
naman.
and clear.
Kiko.
Alright. So, thank you, Operat. That was a very interesting presentation, no? So, we are now at the height, no, of the preparation towards the Christmas season. Later, simbang gabi na. So, lahat talaga in-expect na magiging bullish ang consumer sector. So, thank you for giving us some helpful recommendations, no, that we can position in. Guys, given these are fundamental research, no, tandaan nyo guys, sabi nga ni Operat a while ago, yung volatility niya is a bit medyo bearish, sabihin natin, given nasa downside sila at the moment, no? However, I suggest medium to long term strategy ang game plan natin here. Okay? So your Operat is giving us an opportunity to accumulate while they are still on the low side, no? Given there are value play, pag sinabi nating value play, medium to long term yan, you could wait 3 months, 6 months, or even 6 months to unlock. Isipin nyo ang scenario nyo dyan, pag bibili kayo ng consumer sector ngayon that we believe are laggard, will be more about buying during yung March, nung at the height of the pandemic, or during the pandemic year na mababa pa yung prices nila. Kaya sabi nga nila, di ba, buy pagka nagpapanik ang market when everyone is fearful, lahat hindi sila pinapansin ng stock na yan. So, Operat gave us a good list of back to stocks yan na pwede nyong bantayan and i-accumulate as we move towards the January effect and the Santa Claus rally, assuming we will have a Santa Claus rally. Okay, so let me share my screen, no? So, thank you again, Operat, no? Welcome to the Usapang Stocks Brotherhood, no?
Yes.
Nabinyagan ka na ngayon.
Nabinyagan na nga eh.
Nabinyagan ka na ngayon. So, okay. So, I believe marami ka natulungan tonight, especially our clients, no? So, good evening, everyone, to my clients, to my friends watching, to my future wife watching, no? Live, no? Hello. Oh, and
Yun.
all right. So, okay. So, okay. Usapang stock natin, December 2021 edition, no? I provided some updates with you guys, no? So, okay naman yung screen natin. All right. So, our agenda for tonight should be short. I want this to be short para mas mahaba ating Q&A. I know marami kayong tanong later on, so we will try our best to answer them one by one, okay? So we have 3 topics for tonight, no? I'll keep it short. I'll try my best to keep it short, no? We have December technical outlook, no? Alam natin, merong bad news a while ago, no? Alam natin why the market was red today. Alam niyo na, Omicron threat. We have a MEDIC IPO debrief. I want to debrief MEDIC IPO. Okay, it's a very disappointing IPO. However, ang important dun is we have key lessons later on na I believe makakatulong sa atin. Okay, we have some key takeaways, lessons na natutunan natin sa MEDIC IPO that will make us a better trader or investor, okay, in the long run, no? Ang importante nga diyan, di ba, given may disappointments that happened, natuto tayo, we learned something from it. Okay? And then may surprise package kami later on, no? So abangan niyo na lang, no? Total it's Christmas season already. So PSEI technical outlook tayo, okay? So allow me to do a double screen presentation again. Okay. For a while, guys. Okay. So the PSEI today closed at 7132.58. Okay, so we closed at 7132.58. Okay, so kasi kung itong volume profile indicator. So we closed at 7132.58. No? The afternoon was very wild, volatile, because, alam niyo na, the breaking news was there was a detection of the Omicron variant, no, coming from 2 passengers, one OFW from Japan and isa galing from Nigeria. So the market reacted to it. Siyempre may konting panic, no? May konting panic kaya napasell. Most investors sell, most traders sold their position. It's natural, no? It's natural given some will take profit, no? Some will take profit given up na sila sa portfolio nila. Some would try to raise cash so that they can buy on the dip, no? Given pagka nag-dip, may cash kaming available, sasalo kami. Ganun. No, it's a normal thing to happen given we are now in a volatile market scenario because of this Omicron variant. But my question right now for you guys is, do you think mauulit na naman yung last year na scenario? Nag-close ang malls, nag-close ang essentials. All of us are locked in our houses, nandun lang tayo, bawal na lumabas, bawal na mag-work, blah, blah, blah. Diba? I don't think it will happen again because we're now living with the virus. No? We can now live with the virus. Most of us are fully vaccinated already. Some are waiting for their booster shots already, especially those who were who took J&J vaccines. I believe katawagan na kayo ngayon ng LGUs because of the 3 months rule sa sa second booster shot, no? So I believe na we are now well capable to combat this Omicron threat because we have vaccines available already. We are now enjoying herd immunity, to be honest. So I think this short-term volatility, this short-term pain that you will encounter pagka ganyan may mga breaking news sa market, yes, magre-red tayo, everything will went down by 3-5%. I believe these are short-term opportunities. Okay, so what you're seeing right now on the chart is a medium-term perspective. I've chosen the weekly time frame, okay, because as you can see on the weekly time frame, downtrend ba yan or uptrend, guys? Downtrend, no? Downtrend, uptrend. Yeah? We're still up. We're still up. The moment given we established a low last year at 4,000, 5,000 levels, the market's still up. Medium term. So medium term, we're still bullish. However, as we move along the way, may mga variant threats tayong available. So that's part of volatility. We go up, we go down, we go up, we go down. This moment na nagkakaroon tayo ng mga downside volatility, these are the moments na merong news about the new variant, may lockdown, di ba? May bago na namang Delta variant, nagkaroon ng ECQQQ. But however, I believe ito yung those are the times na, ito yung moments na wala pa, kapos pa tayo sa vaccines nun eh. Compared to today talaga that I believe ito na, ini-enjoy natin herd immunity. So, I believe what is happening right now is short-term pain and long-term gain. Medium-term scenario, we're still up, we're still bullish. So the trend is your friend until it bends. I believe we're still medium-term uptrend from here and short-term sideways from here. So the support and resistance that we are seeing right now is all about establishing support here, 7,096.15, okay, and 6,928.30. So what these key support levels short term ngayong buwan na ito ibabantayan natin. Okay? So we're more fun at 6,928 and 71 support zones. Ito yung range natin na support. Okay? So if we're going to use the volume profile visible range right here, so this chart is telling us that most buyers were stuck here. Most buyers bought during the breakout of the market at 6.8 to 6.9 levels. So this could now act as our support levels right now. Given it is supported by this volume profile visible range, okay, during the breakout last, I think this happened last October, November season, no? So ito yung critical na support ng market right now na nakikita ko. Okay, so resistance to watch out for will be 7,263.43 and 7,4 levels. So I expect this short-term scenario, short-term sideways scenario that can happen this month. Okay, as we continue to price in this Omicron threat. Okay, so day-to-day basis pa rin tayo. Babantayan natin yung daily cases count. Okay, I believe it's still early to conclude na mauulit na naman yung surge, mauulit na naman yung mga QQQ na yan. No? So, ang critical part dito, maging vigilant tayo, mag-ingat tayo palagi, and bantayan natin yung mga news. Bantayan nyo palagi yung news, yung 4 o'clock habit natin, kumusta yung daily cases natin, and are we able to, kumbaga na-isolate ba natin mabuti itong dalawang cases ngayon ng Delta variant? Napaka-critical yung quarantine measures natin ngayon to combat this threat. Okay, but for me, I still see a range scenario. So laban pa ang market natin. I'm still bullish as long as we hold 6.8 to 6.9 levels. As long as we hold above 6.8, 6.9, 6.7 levels, supported tayo ng Fibonacci dito at 6.730, 6.872. I think lalaban ng market natin dyan. Okay, supported tayo ng Fibonacci projections and retracement zones and the volume profile. And nandito yung mga buyers that could go bargain hunting, assuming bumababa market. I believe they will go bargain hunting, given they know we can already live with the virus. So that's an interesting scenario to watch out for. So our strategy is to continue buy the dip, no? Buy the dip and go long on quality stock. Okay, so yun lang nakikita kong strategy natin dito. When others are fearful, kumbaga kontraryan tayo. Samantalahin natin, we accumulate on dips, okay, especially when you're going long on quality stocks, no, blue chip, consumer sector play. So this is a perfect strategy for us to get in pag ganyang nagkakaroon na naman ng volatility, nagkakaroon na naman ng fear sa market. So samantalahin natin sila, okay. And then let's go sa MEDIC IPO debrief, no. Okay, so the MEDIC IPO debrief. So MEDIC is down around 38.5%, no? Okay, from the IPO price niya at 230, today it closed at 141. It is a total disappointment. Okay, it's a total disappointment. Okay, all right. So the important thing here is, did you learn from it? Did you learn from it? Yun ang importante dyan eh. Okay, because that's the game, guys. Hindi naman tayo palaging kumikita sa market. There will come a point na makaka-encounter tayo ng drawdowns, losses like this one. Okay? Personally, I encountered some errors here. Lahat tayo, it's normal. It's part of the process. It's part of our journey to become better investor traders. Okay? So what did you learn? Yun ang important dito. So we have a debrief strategy, debrief session right now to focus on MEDIC. Okay? So MEDIC IPO is a big lesson regarding risk management. Okay, what did you do during the first day? Did you just hold on to it? Alam yung loss na kayo ng 20%, 10%, you hold on to it pa ba? Hindi ba nag-cut loss man lang? Di ba? So, it's a very important thing here na na-execute mo ba mabuti yung cut loss mo? Okay? Because it's part of risk management. Okay? Hindi lang tayo usapan dito about the gains that you will earn. Okay, MEDIC IPO is all about risk management, especially if it opens below the IPO price when you're already down by 5 or 10%, no? This happened last IPO day nyo. So during the first 5 minutes, no? During the first 5 minutes, it opened at 1.99. So dun pa lang, below IPO na tayo 230. Di ba pagka ganung strategy, pwede ka na mag-cut na doon o sell on strength. It went above 212. So nagkaroon pa ng chance ng bounce, no? Nagkaroon pa tayo ng bounce, okay? So what I'm telling you right now is all about exercising stop loss strategy every time an IPO closes below the opens below the IPO price. Okay? So pagka nag-below IPO price, is very important na mag-sell on strength ka na agad or cut loss agad during the first 5 minutes of trading. Okay? It's very important to execute your risk management strategy, particularly if an IPO is weak or walang kumbaga, hirap talaga yung demand niya. Kasi maraming magse-sell niyan after 10 minutes, 20 minutes, sunod-sunod yung sell down. And this happened, no? Sorry. Oops, sorry. And this happened during the next couple of minutes during the IPO day, the first day. No? Tuloy-tuloy yung pagbaba pa niya, 190, 180, at nag-close pa siya at the floor. No? So it's a very important aspect to practice risk management sa opening price pa lang. Okay? Pagka na-hit na yung threshold mo, mag-sell ka na right away. Cut loss is cut loss. Let's face it. Kailangan ma-preserve natin yung capital. Okay? Second key lesson na debrief natin is small IPOs does not necessarily mean ceiling place. Because sabi nga natin, the market is expecting, bilyar yan, para mag-all day na naman. Given mas small IPO pa siya sa all day. So possible, baka mag-ceiling kasi 2 billion IPO lang to, pwede mag-ceiling. So small IPOs does not necessarily mean ceiling place. Tinuruan tayo. We learned the hard way sa MEDIC IPO. Okay? So, bantay pa rin talaga. So the market will tell us if ceiling ba yan or not. So it's very important to always monitor. No? Always monitor and always listen to what the market will tell us. No? Okay? The fourth important debrief natin, the key takeaway is the importance of IPO stabilization fund. So this IPO does not have a stabilization fund to stabilize the price whenever the IPO goes below its IPO price. Okay? So the underwriter has that stipulation sometimes pagka big IPO siya, meron silang stabilization fund. So bumibili sila ng stock pagka nagbibelow IPO to absorb the sellers, heavy sellers. Unfortunately, on this is a small IPO, okay, PNB Capital does not have a stabilization fund. So this happened. So from IPO price of 230, right now we're 141, where the stock closed at 141 and down more than 30%. Okay? And last but not the least, it's all about learning, improving, and moving forward. Okay? It's a traumatic experience, no? But however, it doesn't mean na magta-turn off na kayo sa PSE, hindi na ako mag-a-abilit na IPO. The important matter here is all about how did you learn from it and how this can be avoided. Okay? Moving on, moving forward. Okay? So, learn, improve, and move forward. Laban tayo. We learned a lot from MEDIC IPO. Okay? It's all about risk management execution, guys. Okay? So, yun ang may tuturo ko sa inyo for tonight, no? Sa MEDIC IPO debrief. Okay, so Rika, back to you. Okay, thank you guys.
Ayan, maraming salamat Kiko for sharing your technical views about our December market recap. And while we are waiting for our special guest for the Q&A, let's talk about, of course, the SPNEC IPO play. Ayan, ang pinaka-inaabangan ngayong gabi. And I believe Sir Ralph will share something. Anong thoughts for the fundamental side ng SPNEC IPO? Hi, Sir Ralph.
Yes. I'll share my screen ulit.
Sure.
Para makakita ko yung ano. Okay. So can you see my screen?
Yes, clear.
Okay, so we'll just have we'll share the info, the summary of the IPO. So SPNEC offered 2.7 billion common shares, an offer price of 1 pesos per share, and the total proceeds that will be raised from the offering amounted to 2.7 billion, and listing date will happen this Friday na, December 17. And the market cap for the for SPNEC post IPO will amount to 12 billion pesos with outstanding common shares of 8.12 billion common shares with a public float of 33.23%. I guess the key highlights is it aims to it's pushing into the renewable energy to develop a solar plant in Nueva Ecija, and it has a pipeline total capacity of 500 megawatt DC, and the project site has an aggregate land area of 352.42 hectares and has secured a 25-year leases. And SPNEC will construct approximately 10 kilometer 230 kV transmission line to connect the solar power plant project to the National Grid Corporation of Cabanatuan. I guess the key risk that for SPNEC as an IPO is it has really a high degree of execution risk as the company is set to be in operation. As seen in the prospectus, there is still no operations, meaning there's no revenue generating streams yet, and the IPOs will be used to finance through the accumulation of the fresh capital from the IPO. Doon pa lang kukunin yung kung ano yung itatayo talaga sa planta. But nevertheless, we see this that if ever it will execute properly its project plans, definitely it will definitely benefit from the continuing push to renewable energy. And I guess something that's really interesting to consider for SPNEC, and I guess a lot of the ones that subscribe with the IPO is may stabilization fund ba siya? Unfortunately, wala din. And with the lingering pessimism from the recent MEDIC IPO, maybe, hindi naman sure, pero there's pessimism talaga that maybe mag-spill over yung nangyari kay MEDIC. I guess that's on my end.
All right, maraming salamat, Ralph. Now, let's move on to Kiko's side. Sir Kiko, ano bang masashare natin for the technical side?
Okay, so testing tayo. So it's all about strategy execution tayo. So it's a good thing that we have to be more defensive on this one. We have to be more technical on this approach when it comes to risk management factor, given the sentiment, the underlying sentiment in the market. And yeah, a while ago, Ralph told us, no, yung meron pa talagang, kumbaga may sugat pa dun sa MEDIC IPO. Sabi ko nga dito, may PTSD syndrome tayo ngayon sa MEDIC IPO. So let's call it that way. So let's see. So the important thing is we have a game plan. Okay, no matter what happens on Friday, we need to execute our game plan. We need to be prepared for a bullish or bearish scenario. Okay? So, kumbaga, that's part of our risk di ba? High risk, high reward play ang gagawin natin dito sa upcoming IPO to, given it doesn't have a stabilization fund. So, expect volatility as well, no? May volatility dito. It could be up or down. So the market will tell us on Friday, diba? So yun the market will discount everything on Friday. So when it comes to trading mindset, no, we see it a bit yun nga, relatively small IPO, no? Just like MEDIC, no? Unfortunately kasi yun nga, meron tayong PTSD syndrome kay MEDIC. So even if it's a small IPO, lesson natin later on, it does not necessarily mean na pwede itong sumipad or mag-ceiling play. So, dapat may mindset na tayo ngayon. We have to be very defensive on this one when it comes to assumption, guys. Okay? Wag kayo magpapahype, especially those na makikita nyo sa mga forums, Facebook pages, mga social network, blah, 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 ng mga charting softwares. Mag-iingat kayo dun sa mga post nila. Okay? Always follow your own due diligence, pag-aralan nyo mabuti, and dapat may strategy kayo. Hindi kayo magre-rely sa sasabihin ng mga guru-guru, particularly sa mga forums na nagtatago sa ibang personality. Mag-ingat kayo dyan, especially those sa mga narinig nyo, tayor, yung mga ganyan, trade at your own risk. Yun yung hirap dun mag-hype sila, tapos biglang pinapasa nila yung, biglang sinasabi nila, wag nyo kaming sisihin, blah, blah, blah. Okay? Mahirap magtiwala sa mga ganung low conviction analyst. Okay? So, right. So, important thing here is what's your time horizon? Are you long-term or short-term on this one? What percent of profit will you sell? Napaka-importante dyan. Yung selling strategy natin. Given there's an underlying risk on this one, expect this to be volatile. Expect siyempre may PTSD pa tayo sa MEDIC. Possible, baka may bearish sentiment here. We don't know yet. No? So, important thing here is meron kayong selling strategy. Okay? If bullish scenario, saan kayo magbebenta? What percentage of profit will you sell? And pagka bearish scenario, if it opens below IPO price, what percentage loss are you going to sell? All right? Okay, so short-term investor strategy natin on Friday. Okay? So we have revised our conservative strategy. Okay? So the conservative strategy right now is divided into two parts, into two scenarios. Okay? Number one, if it opens above IPO price, pwede na kayo mag-take profits. Given mayroon tayong Omicron variant threat. You don't know what will happen on Monday. Mayroon na bang local transmission? Mayroon na bang another detection ng Omicron variants from other passengers? Okay? So you can already take profit. If it opens up by 3, 5%, 10%, you take it away. Okay? Okay? Alright. So that's the possible bullish scenario. And then stop loss tayo. Ano na may bearish scenario natin? You stop loss on open, especially if below IPO price na to. If it's down by 5%, 10%, you take the loss right away. Because what will happen after that, baka mag-avalanche pa yan. You don't know. Possible, dumami yung mga sellers. Sunod-sunod yan. It could do another MEDIC scenario pag ganyan. Especially, wala siyang stabilization fund. So, pure market play ang mangyayari dito. Pure demand play. Okay? So, aggressive strategy. Okay? If aggressive kayo on this one, hold and wait for the closing price before deciding to either take profit pag up siya or magka-cut loss na kayo if it closes below IPO price. So that's a very aggressive strategy for me. However, ang important matter here is mag-cut loss kayo pagka closing price red siya. Okay? Especially given underlying risk natin sa market ngayon dahil sa Omicron variant. Okay? So pure demand play strategy natin, you only hold this stock. Andaan nyo, you only hold this stock if it closes at the ceiling price. It's a very clear pure demand play. Pag mataas ang demand niya, it will not discount, it will ignore those Omicron risks. Kasi mataas ang demand niya, maraming buyers. So, you hold it pagka-ceiling lang, guys. Ha? So, yun ang 3 recommendations ko. Conservative strategy, aggressive strategy, and pure demand play strategy. This is the only time that you will hold this stock. Okay? So, what are the risk factors here? No? Short-term bearish sentiment. Ito talaga, to be influenced by the Omicron variant, plus the MEDIC PTSD for traders. Lahat tayo medyo traumatic pa what happened with MEDIC. The sentiment is bearish talaga dahil sa when it comes sa mga small IPOs because of what happened kay MEDIC. Okay? So company updates and competitors that could also affect medium to long-term profitability. That's another key risk on this one, especially if you're going medium to long-term on this one. No? Yung execution ng business plan nila given wala pa siyang track record when it comes to profitability. They expect the business to become operational by end of the year pa next year, 2022. And last but not the least, may macroeconomic news and global events pa tayo na pwedeng bantayan that can affect investor sentiment, particularly this IPO. Okay? So thank you and let's go sa Q&A.
Ayun, maraming salamat, Kiko. Now, I think we can now move on to the Q&A session. And now, tonight, Sir Gab from the head of research team is with us. Ayan, good
special
evening,
guest.
Sir Gab.
Surprise
Hi,
pa.
good evening.
Surprise.
Ayan.
Trying
Okay,
times
so yes. So speaking of Sir Gab, andito na siya. I think we can check some questions regarding the Omicron kasi mukhang maraming nagtatanong ano nga bang effect ng Omicron ngayon at lumabas na sa Philippines or pumasok na sa Philippines. And I also have a question, Sir Gab, regarding the Omicron. Is there an effect dito sa ating bansa, lalo na sa mga establishments this December, na magkakaroon ng strict implementation with regards sa protocols or safety protocols? Thank you.
Okay. We coming into today, the government was starting to look at doing alert level 1 already. And then it didn't happen. So we are still on alert level 2. When we started tracking Omicron, when it started happening this start of the month, it started only with Africa, and that was on November 27. News broke out. That's what corrected the markets. We brought the market from trading from 7,300 all the way down to 6,950 points. And then the market started correcting, rebounding from there up until it reached 7,002 levels, from where it corrected to today, given that we finally have news of the Omicron variant. So what's happened in those days since this started? First, U.S. markets and world markets reacted negatively towards the new variant. Everybody started selling off. You have to note na during those times na when we hit those levels and we corrected, the PSEI was trading at 7,300 points levels already, and it was near the high of 7,475 points for the year. At the same time, U.S. indices, Dow Jones, S&P 500, and the Nasdaq Composite, they were all trading at record highs. So when the news broke out, everybody was quick to react and hedge the risk. Like I said, you're trading at an all-time high na for the U.S. markets. For us, it was a big recovery from the start of the year. The last time we were at 7,300 levels was in January, which corrected largely because of the Delta variant. So on top of the knee-jerk reaction by investors to hedge their risks, it was also a good signal to take profits na for the rise that the market's done from late July all the way to October, because we started this rally at 6,300 points, and then it went all the way to 7,400. Where are we right now? So during the time na nag-rebound yung market, our market sentiment has been simple. As far as the Philippines is concerned, in the past 2 weeks, fundamentals are intact because the Omicron variant hasn't reached our shores, and having good third quarter numbers and also seeing sustained business economic activity from the end of September all the way up until today, actually. That means that our economic recovery trajectory numbers, as we've forecasted, we're still on track. So that one, the rebound going from 6,900 to 7,300 points is a high conviction on the economic recovery trajectory of the Philippines. However, the selling pressures are coming from the Omicron threat, which we did see today. Now that we've logged 2 cases already of Omicron, we see the market start to correct. I saw it trading as low as below 7,100, mga 7,089 points. And it went up, it only went up towards the close na. So the trading's at the close for all the PSEI stocks. So what's our outlook? It's hard right now, which has been the trouble with Omicron. It's spreading fast. The transmissibility rates are high. When we looked at the figures just last week, we were looking at worldwide cases to be at around 1,500. And it's just to my surprise, 2 days ago, or was it just yesterday, we find news from the UK reporting that they're facing the Omicron threat with already registering 3,500 cases. So exponentially, from a world figures of 1,588, now you have one country logging in 3,500 plus cases. That can only mean that the spread of Omicron is really fast. So if we look at the Philippine numbers right now, I think one of the difficulties that we've had to date is that we may not be as sensitive to tracking the Omicron variant as the other Western countries with more advanced technologies have been able to do. So now we've registered their first 2. Right now, what this means for us is that it's here, and we know that it's highly transmissible. What is it that we don't know? What we currently don't know yet, and we lack definitive statements from the WHO, and the vaccine makers is the fatality of Omicron. First of all, we haven't locked down much death numbers. The US has reported one death, but that's not enough data yet to really figure out if Omicron is really more dangerous than Delta or if it's less dangerous than Delta. But we do know now that it's already spreading. And we do know now that it's in our Philippine shores. So we don't know the rate of its spread in the coming weeks, but we do know that the trend is there, that it's already reached the Philippines. We see the trend on the world stage to be spreading fast. That's one thing that the one thing that the WHO has already said as one of the definitive facts that they've stated, that the transmissibility rate is high. So what are we looking next towards with that? How fatal will it be? And that's something that we have to track moving forward, because that will determine whether or not we'll be raising alert levels to 3 or 4 in the coming months. So on an outlook, mahirap din mahirap dito sa fast exponentially moving variant where we don't know a case of. We have one case where we look at our fundamentals to be generally intact. Should the virus be less fatal than Delta? Because it could mean that the current set of vaccinations would be effective against it. And I think, if anything, that would just slow us down more than bring us back again to ECQ measures that severely constricts economic activity. Recall that when we did our first One the Tech call, we did note that the granular lockdown policy seeks to avoid stringent lockdown measures so that the economy can move and isolate lockdown policies to areas that are heavily affected. So that's our first case, no? Our first case is, should Omicron spread but not have that bad of a fatality, we may only see alert levels rise to maybe 3 or 4. And on a granular lockdown scheme of alert levels of 3 and 4, we still see the economy moving. What will be hit most will be the retail sector. If Omicron is more fatal, we will definitely see a resurgence in infections. If it is more fatal with its high transmissibility rate, we can be sure that alert levels will rise in the coming months. Now, how will this work if we move into higher alert levels? So, as of now, we're experiencing very low infection rates, which is very good for us. However, we're also registering near pre-pandemic foot traffic levels as far as our retail numbers are showing us. If this does spread, and this does trigger certain parameters that makes the government decide to bring up the alert levels to level 3 and level 4. At level 4, if it still gets worse than that, then that's when we might go into an ECQ policy already. So that's our second case. So right now, we are at a bit of a push and pull, because we are still trying to figure out where our definitive facts lie, if Omicron is that much of a threat or not as much of a threat as we deem it to be. The question still remains to the rest of the world, even if they're already logging down higher numbers. And the question especially starts just today for us. Again, we are looking at two scenarios. One where Omicron is not as grave as it is to be, and that sentiment is what made the market rebound. World markets start to discount Omicron, thinking that it's mild. At the same time, we don't have all the definitive facts yet to say that it is truly a lot milder. We only have evidence of current infections not registering grave illnesses. So on the other side naman, we may see alert levels rise all the way into an ECQ policy. But I think on an overall stage, what we do have that's an advantage for the Philippines, that in comparison to the resurgence in the UK and in the US, is that a bulk of our population has just been vaccinated recently, in the past 3 to 4 months. There is a soft understanding for vaccines that they have a 6-month window of efficacy. And for the United States and for the UK, where their vaccination was a lot earlier, theirs was from March to September. And so now the ones that hasn't gotten booster shots are more exposed. That's why they are experiencing a resurgence. Look at our Philippine setting. Right now we have foot traffic near pre-pandemic levels, but we're also registering the lowest infection rates so far since the Delta pandemic started, the Delta variant started. And that means it's attributable to the fact that we have a bulk of the population just having recently gotten their vaccines. So now that we're here, where is the challenge for the government? The challenge for the government is to first inoculate everybody to 100%. The last numbers that I have is, as far as the Philippines is concerned, we are at 44% inoculation rates. And as for NCR, we are, as of a week ago, we were at already 85% inoculation rate for the NCR capital region. The challenge for the government here is to first complete the inoculation of everybody and then provide booster shots so that we have a fight against the Omicron variant. So, given this time spectrum, we have at least the first quarter of the year to react. We still have the first quarter of protection left against the Omicron variant, with most of our population having gotten their vaccinations recently. And what does that mean for the economy then? It means that so far, I think, given that we have vaccination, we have the recent set of vaccinations, our resurgence, if there should come one, which would come around towards the start of the second half of the second quarter of the first half of the year. But until then, I can see our economy recovery trajectory still to continue to be online. Maybe right now we may have decreased a little bit of a decrease in foot traffic, but it's hard to stop Filipinos from enjoying Christmas, especially since it's the first Christmas in 2 years that we've been able to enjoy. Now that we're fully vaccinated and that we've had a lift in stringent lockdown measures. So, in summary, with everything that I've said, we can go two directions right now. So, our recommendation would be from research. As you also have noticed, market performance since Omicron started is heavily affected by trading sentiment based on the risks that the Omicron threat has on the potential risks that the Omicron threat has on our country. With that, we are looking more towards our support levels rather than resistance levels of bullishness. We may experience more of a correction again in the coming days as infections start to rise, and it could bring the market back down to 6,900 levels, maybe 6,800 levels, maybe even 6,300 levels if we want to look at how Delta brought down the market to 6,300 levels back in April. What this means, however, for the market is that having been able to put the value of third quarter numbers and having had 2.5 months of putting performance revenue numbers for Philippine companies that's riding on our economic recovery trajectory already. If it goes down to 6.5, 6.6, that's already very cheap, because fundamentally we've already justified those valuations for the year. Moving forward for next year, challenging the government where we have to be able to inoculate everybody. Should the government be successful in inoculating everybody and providing booster shots, then we might not have to worry about Omicron. Vaccine makers have committed that they will be able to release Omicron variant specific booster shots by the first quarter of 2022. And if we just estimate the supply chain moves from inoculating everybody in the states before it trickles down to us, maybe as far as first half of the year before we start we start to receive our end of the first half of the year before we start to receive our booster shots. So that's the outlook. We stay vigilant in this time right now, looking at our support levels, but we do see fundamentals have been improving. We see Omicron to provide headwinds rather than direct threats to a destabilization of our economy. And given that, we would advise more for our investors to look towards your support levels and look for your discount deals. So that buy on dips is what we're going to recommend, and I'm sure Kiko would also back this up. And then what's good about doing buying on dips, should the news prove that it is not as grave, then you'll see a rebound quickly back into current levels. But should the news prove that it is fatal, you are not buying at higher prices, and you will have more opportunity to accumulate at lower prices. So do your investment choices and tranches and look towards your supports. Thank you.
Ayan. Thank you so much, Sir Gab. Ayan. So, ang challenge talaga is nasa government na. Let's see. And abangan natin ang mga susunod na balita. Do you have anything else to add, Kiko and Sir Ralph?
Yeah, so the important thing right now is we can live with the virus. So we have inoculations ready. Kumbaga sa race, kumbaga tayo yung late stop strategy. So we're enjoying right now. Kumbaga, ito na late tayong nabakunahan, then we're enjoying the protection against any variant threat Plus, right now, the seniors and healthcare workers, na booster na rin sila no? So, nagro-roll out na yung booster shots nila. So, we have vaccines available, no? We have vaccines ready for the booster shots. And sa mga bata as well, no? 5 to 11 years old, I think, nagre-ready na si Pfizer for approval dito sa FDA Philippines. So let's see. Actually, I'm more bullish because I'm still waiting for the data as well when it comes to how the vaccines, these booster vaccines will work against the variant. So that, yun yung magpapakaba sa akin pagka sinabi nila less efficacy. I think that will move the market down. But however, yun hinihintay natin na data So I think I'm still bullish and day-to-day basis pa rin tayo sa pagbabantay. Okay? So yeah, let's watch the support levels because there will always be some bounce opportunity. No, I don't see the return of March 2020 scenario in we're down 5% every day sa index. No, hindi na mauulit yun, guys. No, we can live with the virus already. Yeah.
I think Kiko, just to add to what you're saying, thank you for framing it that way. The fundamental way to look at it is if the virus is bad, then we may be a little overvalued in terms of fundamentals. But if the virus does not pan out the way that people are fearing it to be, then I would say that our market is undervalued.
Yeah.
And that's where we can see. Yes. So, yon.
Okay. Alright.
Ayan, maraming salamat.
So, hopefully, that will calm the market. Thank you, Gab.
Oo nga Alright, sige. Now, we can now move on to the Q&A session from our questions from our participants. Ayan, will SPNEC follow the meltdown of MEDIC? What is the trading strategy to buy IPO with a lower market cap? Ayan, Kiko.
So, yeah, we presented a while ago, no? So, the market will tell us, no? So, just be ready for your risk management strategy, risk management procedures. If it opens below IPO, syempre we have to cut, we have to sell already. If it closes or opens at the ceiling, you hold it and watch the pure demand play strategy. Okay, if it opens 5 or 10% up, if you're happy with the profits, given the volatility of the Omicron variant threat and market headwinds, no? So you can take profits right away, no? So again, the market will discount everything. The market will tell us, okay, kung ano yung dapat natin gawin. If magka-cut loss na ba tayo, we will take profits again sa opening price pa lang ni SPNEC. Okay? Thank you.
Alright, maraming salamat. I think, Kiko, isa pa. What are your thoughts on Converge and also SGP?
Okay, so I think, let's see the chart, no? Hi po, si Ma'am Sylvie. Yeah, ma'am. Hi, ma'am. So let's see. So let's check the chart ni Converge muna, no? So I think ito Converge right now kasi kumbaga it priced in na yung index inclusion. So right now I see it in a consolidating pattern as well, no? So watch lang natin yung support zones dito, no? So watch the support zones near dito sa 30 pesos, no? Let's peg it at 30. It's a psychological support zones at 30, okay? And this one, 30 and 28.75, no? So malaki yung range niya at the moment, no? So I think this is going to be the range of Converge moving forward, no? So we have resistance zones at 33 pesos and up, 33.10, 33.10 all the way to 36 pesos, no? So you can trade this range, no? You can sell 33 and above, and given we have an Omicron buy opportunity, discount opportunity, Opagab a while ago told us, so you can buy anything 30 pesos and below. So you can do this tradable range right here. No? Buy near 30 and 28.75, then you sell. Pag nag-bounce ang market, given na pagka na-contain natin agad yung Omicron threat and lumabas yung mga vaccine news and efficacy studies, no? So I expect may quick bounce na that can happen on this one. Okay, so yun nakita ko, range opportunity tayo kay Converge. So, bearish scenario, okay, pag nag-close na to below 28 pesos, pag nag-broken down na itong range consolidation ni Converge, sa magiging bearish. And I hope magsisell strategy na tayo ron. Either you take profit or you cut loss na pag ganito. And FGP, I think, kumbaga, mukhang nagko-conso bias na rin siya, no? However, yun. So, si FGP, no? So yung critical support at 14 pesos was broken already, no? So I think yan, itetest na lang yan yung IPO price, yung SRO price na 1250 ba to, no? 1250 ba, 1350, no? 13 ba? So let's see. For me ito So it's very important na mag-hold na tong lowest price niya during the first day of the listing ng SRO. So 1250, no? So I expect yan, may support tayo dyan at 1250. Okay? At itong sa 13 pesos levels, no? So it shouldn't go down at 1250. Okay? Napaka-critical that nag-hold at 1250 and 13. Okay? Otherwise, baka mag-below 1250 pa siya or near 12 pesos. Okay? So I see this range pattern muna, ganyan. So you have a support near 13 and 1250. Assuming you're going to do a bounce play strategy on this one, short-term bounce play. So you can buy near 13 and 1250, and then with an objective to sell at 13.50 or 14 pesos and above. So pwede rin dito 14.22, 14.20 and 15 pesos. Okay, so stop loss strategy natin if it closes below 12.50, assuming dito tayo bumili sa support zones. Again, let's watch the support levels for some bounce play short-term opportunities and then sell on resistance zones pa din na nakikita ko dito kay SGP. Okay, so if you're going long term on this one naman, so yeah, you're going to observe yung prospects pa rin niya, no? Sa renewable energy, ano yung mga partnership niya sa renewable energy source, di ba? So I think that will be the trend in the next 10 to 20 years as we shift sa green energy, no? So yun yung nakikita kong long-term prospects dito kay SGP given nandun yung as a distributor sa Luzon, yun yung monopoly power niya, no? So yun, wala sa ganong competitor sa SGP. Yun yung magpapa-long term sa inyo dito, no? So what do you think na overall, no? Ano ba tingin niyo sa SGP, no? Opagab? Thank you. Hello?
SGP, sorry, and Converge. Okay. What I like about Converge is that it's a resilient stock against the pandemic. And I think we saw that with how TEL performed today. Everybody was going down, TEL was still trading up. The prospects kasi of data connection increases with more of a pandemic threat because continuance from work from home will sustain demand on the data segment. SGP, again, we are also finding the power sector to be resilient. Although what's hard about SGP is that it's a newly listed SRO. It's still determined by a lot of market sentiment other than fundamental valuations. If we look at it, because technically we do have some people who are trying to get out, which is what is causing selling pressures. But fundamentally, power is a resilient fundamental company to the pandemic. We did see Meralco They had a drop of their power demand from 35,000 gigawatts to 31,000 in 2020, which again rebounded na to 34,000 gigawatts for the first 9 months of 2021, which is nearing its pre-pandemic level. And what we saw was more of a shift in energy demand, going out from commercial and industrial and growing on the residential side because now more people are staying at home. So on an outlook, if you look at the next coming year, with or without Omicron, we think that the power will continue to sustain its profile. Nangyayari lang, dumilipat lang yung power demand from industrial and commercial into residential. If anything, what's affected are margins, because the margins of commercial power and industrial power rates are higher than residential rates. But we did see it also that the amount of residential demand offset those margin losses. So overall, it's still the same.
Ayan. Alright. Maraming salamat, Sir Gab and Sir Kiko. And I think we have another question, no, for Sir Gab and Sir Kicks. Since MEDIC is down more than 35%, should I sell all or wait for it to be up eventually?
35%. Okay. Well, Kiko would suggest. Kiko, how do you suggest looking at the stop loss, your stop loss strategies for this one at 35% loss?
Normally, pag ganyan, you have to sell on strength. Any bounce play opportunity, if it's up tomorrow, you sell it kumbaga.
Okay.
Kumbaga minimal damage strategy na tayo diyan Kumbaga, let's face it, your car is damaged already. So you have to pit and minimize damage or either retire the car, no? So yun talaga. So kumbaga, risk management tayo, you need to preserve your capital, no? So yun ang nakikita ko ditong important matter. And we ship sa mga quality stock that we can recommend. So
that's true, no?
Yeah.
What I'm thinking, at 35%, and with the market correcting right now from Omicron, where things are still up in the air, and generally our valuations are already being justified. What would be good is if you do get out of that stock, kasi the trading sentiment is a little negative, there's a lot of selling pressures that are involved, is to reallocate your funds into the blue chip stocks that are correcting. At least for a blue chip stock, you have earnings visibility. You can look at the PSEI as a means of tracking how your investment is going. And now that there's a big discount prospect coming in, you might be able to get it at a better, cheaper pricing. And should the market
also
rebounds,
get dividends pa.
you also get dividends pa. So I guess overall our suggestion would be at 35% loss in MEDIC. It would be good to reallocate your resources into a blue chip stock.
Agree.
Ayun.
Okay.
Alright.
Okay.
Sige. And I think we don't have any time for the Q&A. Rest assured po, and babalikan namin kayo by next week. Maraming salamat for those who participated in our Q&A, and of course to all our experts here tonight who answered the questions from our participants. And for some UTrade announcements po, no? One moment lang. Let's have some UTrade announcements. For our upcoming events po by January, we will be posting some announcements and the registration links by December, end of December. So abangan po ninyo ang aming marketing team to post some news and updates regarding our upcoming events. And for UTrade advisory, again, we have been receiving inquiries and complaints in relation to a certain UTrade International Inc. And we would like to inform everyone that UTrade International Inc. is not any way connected or related or affiliated with UTrade by Unicapital Securities Inc. We only use our official logos in all communications, advisories, and marketing campaigns, and any other entity using the UTrade or the name UTrade with logo or other than the UTrade official logo has not been authorized by and is not any way related to Unicapital Securities po. Ayan. So for more information and updates, please feel free to email us at utrade@unicapital-inc.com. And there you go. This is our official Facebook page. So for some news and updates, you may visit our official Facebook page. It's UTrade by Unicapital Securities Inc. And for more questions, please feel free to contact us at utrade@unicapital-inc.com, or you may also contact our UTrade sales team or UTrade customer support. So we will give you around a minute to take a screenshot of their mobile phones, Viber, ayan po. Kung meron kayong tanong regarding your portfolio, your UTrade account, dito po tayo lalapit. And if you have any stock request, dito naman po sa aming email address. Okay, so there you go. That's all the time we have for now. Again, maraming salamat po everyone, and thank you to all our experts. Before we end, do you have any last message po, Sir Rolf, Sir Kiko, and Sir Gab, to all our participants tonight?
Sino? Who's first? Sino muna?
I
Nagkahiya.
would like to
Okay,
nominate
okay.
Ralph.
Okay,
Nominate
yeah. Baptism.
Okay, nabinyagan ako today. I guess the only thing that I would like to impart to our viewers right now is really one word, adaptability. With a still increasing degree of uncertainty in the markets, I guess we need to always be prepared and be cautiously optimistic. And if there's any opportunity that it presents itself, we need to be prepared to seize it, as well as if we see that our plan doesn't pan out according to what we expect it to be, we need to be humble to admit it. And if we see that our losses are getting bigger, I guess we need to have the conviction to cut our positions before mas lumaki pa yung mga talo natin.
Ayan, maraming salamat, Sir Rolf. How about you, Sir Kiko?
Solid, Oparal. Thank you sa advice, no? So, napaka-importante yung risk management scenario, no? Okay, so we can recommend every day. However, the process of selling and executing stop loss depends on you guys. Depends on your strategy and depends on your humility to accept the losses, 'di ba? We all make mistakes eh. Ang important diyan is all about learning, 'di ba? Okay, a while ago we discussed about the MEDIC IPO debrief. The important thing is we learned, no? Okay, it's part of the game. We win, we lose together. Okay, it's part of the game that we also learn the hard way and we improve moving forward, no? So stay contrarian ang mga ipapayo ko, guys. Again, if you play the long game, okay, always remember the turtle always wins, no? So yun na may papayo, guys. Be contrarian when others are fearful. Lahat tayo nakaabang na tayo sa support zones to buy the dip. And pag lahat naman medyo greedy na, lahat sobrang greedy sa market, that's the perfect time to take profits and raise cash. Okay? So thank you guys. Thank you, and yeah, guys, Rika, Gab, Opera, di ba? Thank you. Last may binayano pa natin to for the year, no? Thank you. Ang dami natin napagsama, no? So batiin ko na kayo lahat dyan. Pasalamat ako sa inyo sa mga webinars na clients natin ngayon nanonood. Salamat po sa suporta sa Usapang Stocks. Okay. Hope to see you again next year.
Yeah,
Salamat,
okay.
Kiko.
Tutuloy
Yes, Sir
natin.
Gab.
My last would be to follow on with Kiko's sentiment and Ralph's sentiment, and I would like to bring up one important factor to risk management, which is resource allocation. So now that we're facing certain uncertain markets, resource allocation means that you would divide your investment capabilities, have some portion in cash and some portion in investment in invested stocks. And as you see buy opportunities, that's when you start to allocate more resources towards buying your stock picks. And then as the market rises, you also want a bit of cash. So that's where you also would put on the other end of a stop loss your profit taking sell orders. So yeah, resource allocation. Don't just put all your eggs in one basket. Look to diversify, and at the same time, you're also looking with how the market moves. If it goes down, you can buy more.
Ayan, very
Alright,
nice.
thank you.
Salamat, Sir Gab. And there you go. That's all the time we have for now. But of course, because your feedbacks are very important to us, we would like to invite everyone to participate in our short post-event survey, and the link will instantly open once you leave this webinar. And of course, meron din naman tayong QR code to scan. So yan, available siya ngayon sa inyong screen. And again, this has been Rika.
And Kiko.
And Ralph.
And Gab.
Thank you and
Yun.
happy
Happy
investing.
investing. Night,
Good night.
everyone.
Maraming salamat.
Good
Thank you,
luck to
everyone.
IPO.
Merry Christmas and Happy New Year.
Merry Christmas.
Merry
Happy
Christmas,
New Year.
everyone. Happy New
Next
Year.
year. See you next
See
year,
you
guys.
next year.
See you next year.